Welcome to the theatre at Hendry Hall, home of the North Vancouver Community Players. We are non-profit and wholly volunteer group who have been presenting the most marvellous theatre to the local community and beyond for almost 70 years. I'm Sue Worrow, a member of the NVCP executive, and today we're going to take you on a virtual tour of the theatre, which is often dubbed the best little community theatre in BC, if not the world. We are planning to give you an insight into the inner workings of producing plays theatre at Hendry Hall. Let me introduce you to Jennifer Morabito, who shares with you some of our history and background.
A little history from John Cairns, founding member of NVCP. It all began when John Cairns held a meeting at North Van High School sometime in December of 1946. They were able to get some parents whose kids were active in the high school drama productions involved in starting a community theatre. One of those parents was the parent of Shirley Drost. Mrs. Drost was the first president of the Players. Shirley and John were in the first play, Kiss and Tell, in April of 1947. It was directed by James K. Stanfield. Art Smith and Marty Maxwell were also in the play. John remembers that it was a great success and was followed by The Doctor in Spite of Himself by Molière in December 1947. This was directed by Arthur Buzz Broughton, with Peter Mannering, Art Smith, Jack Cairns, Doug Hellier, and Marty Maxwell at the now Lonsdale Hall, which was formerly the Horticultural Hall. There was a second play in the summer of 1947, and in 1948, John performed in John Loves Mary, directed by Arthur Broughton with Shirley Drost and Doug Hellier. 68 years and counting accumulates a lot of shows for the North Vancouver Community Players, including award-winning productions like The Dresser, 3 Days of Rain, Rabbit Hole, and Someone to Watch Over Me. And of course, there are the ever-popular pantos, done every year without fail, with all the funds going to a charity of choice. They include wonderful shows like Aladdin, Rapunzel, Treasure Island, and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs Not. And the ever-popular comedies that fill every season, like Moon Over Buffalo, The Kitchen Witches, The Real Thing, and The Mumberly Inheritance. And to stretch our acting chops, we would delve into plays and produce shows like The Anniversary, Lock Up Your Daughters, Twelfth Night, Equus, Jekyll and Hyde, The Glass Menagerie, Snake in the Grass, and for a fun period piece, Charlie's Aunt. And of course, our cabarets and musicals like Angry Housewives, Checkout Girls, Razzle Dazzle, and the Love Boat Comedy Cruise. North Vancouver Community Players is also known for taking on new pieces and producing world premieres like Barbecue Blues, Death of a Devil, and Roadside Vigil.
Give 'em the old razzle dazzle, razzle dazzle them.
Hello, my name's Marsh, and I've been a member of North Vancouver Community Players for some 45 years plus. Joining the club changed my life in so many ways, and I've met, befriended and been entertained by so many talented people from all walks of life. Knowing nothing about theatre initially, I've been privileged to act in many productions, as well as being part of the administration of the club and work backstage in many capacities. All have brought me joy. As being a member of NVCP did for Dave Broadfoot, our most famous alumnus. Dave Broadfoot was born in North Vancouver on December the 5th, 1925, and passed away November the 1st, 2016 at the age of 90. At the age of 21 in 1948, he joined the North Vancouver Community Players. He was a friend of the aforesaid Jack Cairns, and he travelled to work with him every morning. Jack was a ship handler on Cordova and Dave to Woodwards on Hastings. Jack apparently was performing in a play and Dave went along and he was very impressed, saying to Jack, "See you on stage." I said to myself, if Jack can do that, maybe I can. Jack's response was, "Absolutely. Go and join the North Vancouver Community Players." I did that. Joining the Players changed everything. Dave went to fame and fortune, being part of the Royal Canadian Air Force. He played the renowned Big Bobby Clobber and was the member for Kicking Horse Pass. He received many awards and even performed in front of the Queen. But he says, the one I'm proudest of is the one which is presented in North Vancouver, the Dave Award for Comedy. At this time, there are many things Dave Broadfoot would say, but the important thing to say is thank you. The North Vancouver Community Players literally gave him a life. Again, thank you. And he finishes by saying, carry on, carrying on. Although Hendry Hall is now a fully fledged theatre, it wasn't always so. Built in 1942 as an air raid precautionary post, Hendry Hall originally cost $800. Hendry Street had earlier been named after one of the officers of a lumber company established in North Vancouver at the turn of the century. The hall was remodelled at the end of the Second World War to be more suitable for community use. So when I first came to Hendry Hall, it was by no means the theatre that it is now. You came in the front door, there was a washroom here and a washroom over there, and after that it was a completely empty space. We sat on ordinary seats, there was a flat stage, and I can remember after watching a one-act play called Mr. Flannery's Ocean, we were served tea and sandwiches. We thought this was very civilized. But gradually the group grew, more people came in, and we decided that instead of going to the Centennial Theatre where we've been performing to a very small audience in a 750-seat theatre, we would retrench and come to Hendry Hall and turn it into a theatre. So you can see now we have a proper lobby, we have a refreshment counter, and you'll see under the refreshment counter the collage that was painted for one of our productions, Twelfth Night. Also, we added on a part of the theatre so that we have more space here, we have a proper refreshment counter, we have a proper lobby, and here you can see that we have a magnetic wall so that we don't have to stick pins in all our promotional material. Now, I can remember in the early days when I was downstairs in the dressing room, which was a very narrow area, we had to come up the outside steps, open a door, and we were literally on the stage. And one day I was in a crinoline gown and it was snowing, and I thought how dramatic this was. Also, the local children could see what we were doing and were so intrigued that we thought we should give back to the community, so we started doing children's plays every Christmas, and that's continued for, must be nearly 40 years. Very, very popular and always sold out. So we have now proper theatre doors, theatre curtains. We have a proper box office. In the theatre at the back we have a technical booth for lighting and sound, and we have proper theatre seats. So it is now called the Theatre at Hendry Hall rather than just Hendry Hall.
Hello, my name is Peter Zednik, and I'm here to talk with you today about directing and play selection. So I guess the first question is, what does a director do? Well, when you come to see a production, you see the sets and the costumes and the props and the lighting, and you hear the music, but somebody needs to coordinate all of that into a cohesive whole, and that is the director. Let me give you an example of what might happen if you didn't have a director. Let's say the theater decided to produce Hamlet. And the set designer gets all excited and says, "Hamlet, wonderful! I've always wanted to design a Gothic castle." So far, so good. But then the costume designer steps up and says, "Hamlet, I've always seen that as a futuristic play. I'd like everybody to be dressed in spacesuits." And then the cast get together and say, "Great, Hamlet. We're going to turn it into a disco musical." I think you get the idea. Without a director to coordinate everything, you could end up with chaos. Now, if you ask 10 different directors how to direct, you're going to get 10 different answers. So I thought what I'd share with you today are the 10 questions I ask myself whenever I'm selecting a play to direct. The first question is, do I like the script? Okay, that sounds obvious, but let me be frank. I am going to spend months and months studying the script, making decisions about it. Because once we start rehearsals, a whole lot of people are going to come after me and ask me to make decisions about the script. Actors are going to want to know the interpretation of every single line. Designers are going to ask me, what kind of coffee cup would that character use? What kind of scarf is she wearing? I need to know the answers, or I need to be able to figure them out pretty quickly. So I need to know the script, I better like the script, heck, I better be passionate about the script. Question number 2, will the audience like the script? Now, just because I like a script doesn't mean anybody else will. When I direct a show, I like to think that we're going to engage the audience, that they're going to be opening their hearts and their minds and really thinking about the play and experiencing something special. If I offend them or bore them or confuse them, they'll just disengage, and then you get the opposite of what you started out to do. Question number 3. Is the script appropriate for the physical theater? Hendry Hall is intimate, cozy. There's not a lot of backstage space, and the ceiling is not very high. So if your script calls for a boisterous chorus of 45 people on a fully realized 2-story set, this ain't the right theater for that show. Confidentially, I have crammed as many as 18 people onto this stage at the same time. but I don't recommend it. Question number 4. Do we have the actors and the technical needs required by the script? Now, Hendry is blessed with a wonderful core group of actors and designers and craftspeople, and we welcome guests to come in and participate with us. But some scripts just have special needs. I mean, what if I'm asked to come up with a coloratura soprano with a 4-octave range who speaks Swahili and can turn cartwheels all at the same time? What if the technical needs are for a running waterfall or a herd of camels to come racing across the stage? Again, maybe not the right theater. Question number 5, and this is really a big one, is what is my vision? And that's just a fancy way of saying, how do I interpret the script? What do I think the message of the script is? And how do I think that the performances and the design elements will come together to tell that cohesive story? I'll give you some examples. What does the play look like? I don't need to design this show, but okay, when I read a script, I see colors and shapes. For example, I might think a script is sort of pastel and simple, or it might be in striking, vivid, bold colors. I might see it with fussy, realistic detail, or spare and symbolic. And what does a play sound like? When I read the dialogue, is it fast, frantic dialogue like in a French farce? Or is it slow and meditative with a lot of meaningful pauses? What's the tempo of the script? If there were music playing, would it be a string quartet, or Beatles, or rap? Question number 8 is one I think we can all identify with. What's it going to cost? Every show at Hendry is assigned a producer, and that producer does an endless stream of thankless tasks, and one of those is manage a budget that is approved by the executive. Now, some people think of the director as the person who's the creative genius who can do whatever they want, whatever it costs. But really, that's not very responsible, is it? Because if I go over budget, that means the next director will have less money to play with. Question number 9. Do I have enough time? Everybody at Hendry, including the director, is a volunteer. We might be students or working full-time, part-time, might be retired, but everybody has other demands on their time. So I really need to figure out, can we do all this by opening night? Personally, I only direct one show a year because it takes me about that long to figure out all the elements of the script. Once you start rehearsals, the tempo really picks up. You have rehearsals with actors, you have design meetings, production meetings, budget meetings, costume parades. It goes on and on. So the more prepared I am ahead of time, the more smoothly the production runs. Question number 10, and the most important one is, are we all going to have fun? Because we're all volunteers, we all want to have a good time, no matter how serious the play is. Everybody wants to feel that they're treated with respect, that their voice is heard, and that they have the ability to be creative. So I hope to see you at Hendry Hall sometime soon. Thanks for listening.
I'm Glynnis. I'm one of the set designers. For me, the joy of creating a set or setting is that I get to interpret the director's vision of the play, the words on the page, and create something real that the audience can participate in. They feel real emotions. The actors inhabit a real world that's not really real. It's vision, reality, alternate reality, if you will. Once the director has chosen a play, they will meet very early on in the process with the set designer to impart their vision and talk about how they're going to make the setting of the play come alive. The set designer needs to have done their homework beforehand. The nature of this homework is reading the script through several times, once just to get the message and the feeling of the script, the general overall tone, once to get the era and the location, and once to note down very carefully any entrances, exits, special effects, special things. Like, for instance, if the script in the words, one of the characters says chaise, there'd better be a chaise on stage. If there's a phone call, the designer better have placed a phone on the set. And the era is very important. I use a number of resources to do my research as a set designer. I use the internet a lot. For instance, we very recently put on a show called Dixie Swim Club by a number of people, written by a number of people, and it was set in the North Carolina Islands, which I know nothing about. So I went on to various real estate websites and looked at homes for sale of the era, and that was illuminating. I noticed almost every single house had an awful lot of blonde wood, as well as a ceiling fan. Ceiling fans were in every single house. So that informed my design of that set, obviously in collaboration with the director, because they know how they want the actors to move around the set. The set designer will have taken the script with them to the space in which the play is to be presented. They will have made measurements of everything, including all the entrances and weird stuff like trapdoors, which can be used to great effect. Like in this show, we'll show you how a door is used to compensate, a door on a wall and a trapdoor, to allow an entrance from essentially a blank wall. At Hendry Hall, the entrances and exits have to be creative. We did that step so that you would imagine somebody was coming upstairs, and as you can see, this back wall is really close against the back wall, so nobody can get through there. And in order to do this entrance with this door, there's a trap door back here that goes down into the basement. Another thing about set decoration is that you only paint what the audience is going to see. Here is a good example. Here. After the meeting with the director, the set designer will create two drawings. One is a floor plan, like a spider's eye view from the ceiling, of where everything will sit in the space that they have previously measured. The other is what we call an artist's impression, showing the colors, where the furniture is placed, the type of furniture, and these two items are used to inform the other departments, the other crew departments. The set model is created if there are special effects, like paint effects and things that need to be communicated. Lighting needs to be able to see either the artist's impression or the set model to determine whether the walls are light or dark or yellow, which apparently is a nightmare to light. Costumes needs to know what colors the set are and what patterns are being used on stage in terms of furniture and fabric, so that actors don't blend into the wall or disappear on the couch, which has happened. Props needs to know what all the different items are that they need to place, where they need to place them. So the drawings and the model are the beginning of the fun. At this stage, the set designer can hand over to the set creation crew. I prefer to be an integral part of the whole process. Theatre BC has a festival of plays every year, and we take part in this festival of plays. The design requirements for a festival set are a bit different in that it needs to be easily dismantled, transported, and put up again in the festival theatre in a matter of 2 to 3 hours. This is a festival play, this set, and it has been designed accordingly. The festival theatre has its own unique set of requirements, first of which is that it's a different size and shape to Hendry Hall. Second of which, we are not allowed to attach anything to the walls or floor. This set is heavily braced against the back wall so that the door doesn't rattle when it's closed and it's not going to fall on someone's head, as has happened for festival plays. That was interesting. So there are things that we need to do in those circumstances. When the audience applauds the set as the lights come up, as the show is about to open, or they send messages to the theatre or the president on how well the set was interpreted, then you know you've done a good job. That for me is enormous praise, because it is from my peers, people who come to see every one of the 6 shows that we put on every year for the past almost 70 years now.
Hello, my name is Bill Howorth. Welcome to the control booth at Hendry Hall. This is the area where we control all of the lights and sound for any show. In front of me is our lighting board. This is the heart and soul of our lighting system, and it's perfect for small theaters such as ours, where there are a variety of demands for lighting. Above the board, you see our monitor that provides information to the operator. This is all of the information that an operator will need during the running of a show. Next up, we have the control equipment that is used for our communication system. The communication system allows me to talk to the stage manager, backstage, and also to the box office. Above that, we have some switches that control various monitors, so when the windows and doors are closed in this booth, we can tell what's going on stage, and we can see what's going on stage. Over to the right, we have our sound amplifier. This amplifier provides soundtracks to the variety of speakers that we have located around the theater. And below it is the sound monitor, where the operator can see all of the sound cues that are put together for a show. These sound cues are typically made up of soundtracks and music. On the right of that screen is the computer that runs the sound system. If you look between the 2 monitors, you can see out into the theater, and you can see that we've got some lights on the set right now. Well, that's it for your tour of the control booth at Hendry Hall. Thanks for coming by. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. If you'd like more information, please go to our website. We never say no to volunteers. Goodbye.
Hello everyone, my name is Mitchell Mackay, and I'd like to welcome you to the costume storage and dressing rooms of Hendry Hall. Even if it's only at Halloween, we all love the opportunity to dress up and pretend to be someone else. It gives us a chance to feel what it would be like to be another person who lived, perhaps in another time or in another country, or in the case of that Halloween costume, has a truly awesome superpower. There's an old saying, the clothes make the man, the woman, or those who've yet to make up their mind, and nothing else could be more true. Our first impressions of people are often set by how they look. Are they rich? Are they poor? Are they young and fashionable? Old or conservative? Our clothes are a walking billboard for who we are, and that is the basis of costume design. To paraphrase from the Bible, in the beginning there was the script. Theater is all about creating other worlds, and the script is the seed from which all things grow. It tells us the story, what kind of story you're telling, and gives clues about how the character should look. Oh, now look, this one's a murder mystery. I love a really good murder mystery, don't you? Now let's see what kind of characters we have. Oh, Dirty Dog Nelson, an escaped convict. I see him in something bold, maybe Stripes, or our hero, Detective Lestrange. I bet he wears a cape and smokes a pipe. Our leading lady, Daisy Lou. I think she should have flowers and ruffles. Lots and lots of ruffles. Now this one is an English drawing room comedy. I bet it has a character who wears a dressing gown and a monocle and says rather a lot. For some reason, all these plays have a character who says rather a lot. Recently, I had to do a conservative socialite with a Margaret Thatcher twist, but I think I nailed it. One of the costumer's biggest challenges is in dressing a period play. This means a play that was written in, or the author has set in, a time other than our own. We can't go to the store to buy an Elizabethan gown or a Victorian dress. Instead, we have to make one, and that is a challenge all its own. Besides the costume itself, we have to find all of the details, the jewelry, the hats, the gloves, even the handbag. Christmas is my favorite season at Hendry Hall, and our annual pantomime is one of the most popular shows of the year. Usually based on a classic fairy tale, we get to make wild and wonderful costumes that challenge the imagination and really make the holidays shine. I hope you've enjoyed your time at the Hendry Hall Costume Department, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. But until then, if you're feeling a little blue, grab yourself a wig, throw on some gloves, take out your comedy goggles, and remember, darlings, it's more fun in costume!
Welcome to the Makeup Department at Hendry Hall, home of North Vancouver Community Players. Before any makeup is applied, many discussions take place with the director, the actor, and the costume department to determine what the character is, the characterization is of the character that the actor is portraying, whether they're rich or they're poor, whether they're healthy or they're frail, whether they're happy or sad. Tonight, what I would like to do is demonstrate two makeups, one an age and then a character makeup. So without further ado, I will begin. Now the first thing that you do is I will be applying a foundation which just evens out an actor's skin tone so you can then build on the character. Okay, now that I've applied the foundation, I will start applying the character work. Now what I have to do is build the age into somebody's face, into their character. I'm gonna color that out. Okay, now for the character, the contours, and what I'm doing is putting shape back into the face. Now some of these makeups you can do very, very quickly. Some of them take much longer to do. I have worked on shows where makeups can take up to several hours to put on. And what I'm doing, even though I've applied highlight to enhance the contours, I'm just applying an extra highlight, which is color on highlight on top of highlight, and it just embellishes and it just gives it the characterization life. Now I'm blending it, because where you want to see the makeup, you want the character to look as they should in their character. You don't want people to be able to see, oh, I can see that, isn't that a good makeup? You just want them, the audience or the actor, to say, gee, I feel good. Your character was really, you looked good on stage. And for a makeup artist, that is praise, that they've done their work well. Now, to embellish any makeup, you need the wig. So yeah, if you'd hold right there. Oh, don't you? And here you have is your basic age makeup.
Hello, my name is Sandy and I will be talking to you about props today. What are props? According to Wikipedia, a prop, formerly known as theatrical property, is an object used on stage or screen by actors during a performance or screen production. In practical terms, a prop is considered to be anything movable or portable on a stage or a set, distinct from the actors, scenery, costumes, and electrical equipment. Consumable food items appearing in the production are also considered props. We have an extensive list of props in the properties binder. This is here, and it's in alphabetical order, and numbering is indicated so people know where to find things. And if we don't already have the object, then we will go out and beg, borrow, buy, or just make it ourselves. And here's a perfect example of what some of our more gifted members have made over the years, which, as you can see, are food items. Now, the cake at the back here is our wedding cake, and that was made from foam from the foam shop, or you can use styrofoam, and then royal icing. And some food is real and then covered with either art spray or sealer. Some food is made from clay, which we can be molded and then painted. And some is also paper mache, which is, as you can see in here. This book here was just recently done up for our last play, and it is a Georgetown phone book. We contacted the Special Collections Library in the Peabody Room of the Georgetown Branch Library in Washington, D.C. They went into their archives and got the phone book from the era, 1960s. They took a photo of the front and the back cover, and we found an old thin book, our own. And remember, in those days, phone books were very small, so not like the ones we have now. And glued on the bright yellow covers that we had printed on thick paper. So that's just an example of our props people having to design. We have a number of periodicals and newspapers that we've had to do that. We just take photocopies and get them printed and tape them on original ones that we have. Many of these items in our props area are used for set decorations or to decorate the set. And between props and the set decoration people, we complete our final look of the set. Props are sometimes listed in the scripts, and if so, it is a guideline the director can use. Otherwise, the director will make a props list. The props crew will meet with the director at the start of rehearsals to discuss the vision of the production and the products and the props requirements. Props can be added, deleted, or slightly revised under the director's discretion. Props hunting is a fun learning experience. You get to check out interesting stores, especially antique ones, and warehouses full of the most weird stuff you never knew existed. Sometimes you get so enthralled you forget to focus on what you came for. Sort of like that Home Sense ad. Props also challenge that creative side of you. I hope you enjoyed your peek into the world of props, and we look forward to seeing you once this world gets back to normal. Well, the new normal. We all miss our theater family and hope you will join us when we open our doors once again. Thanks, and hope you enjoyed your Props 101.
My name is Fran Heaney. I'm the president of this wonderful group. Through this tour of Hendry Hall, you will hear from various groups and chairs of departments such as makeup and front of house or lighting and sound. Just to let you know, we're all volunteers here. And this goes from everyone from actors down to the people on the board. Now, various people will join for various reasons, such as empty nesters looking for something to do. Or there could be a couple where one person decides they want to volunteer and the other thinks, gee, I never see them, so maybe I'll volunteer too. So we do have a lot of couples who work together here. But our website is northvanplayers.ca, and there is a pic on that site that says volunteers, and it gives you a little overview of all of the different departments within the group, and you can see which ones really interest you. And one of the ones that you're seeing in our tour may really tweak your interest. Some people love painting. Some people love building sets. Some love going to thrift stores and looking for old costumes, or they might want to look for props that are used on a set like this. All of the things that you see on this set right here are all props. They could have been ones that were donated to us, brought from homes, or picked up at thrift stores. The areas that we have for volunteering are anything from front of house, which is taking tickets and handing out programs, maybe helping somebody to their seats. If you want to get your special event permit or your Serving It Right certification, you can get those online, and then you can be one of the people that serves at the refreshment counter when we have liquor. We have people that do props, costumes, the lighting and sound, the front of house, stage managing, producing the plays, all areas that puts together that play that you see on stage. It takes a lot of people just to even do 2 people on a set. And I'm going to pass this over for the moment to Shirley, one of our volunteers.
Hi. Well, I became a volunteer in 2003 through Fran one day, and she says, would you be interested in working on another show? And I said, sure. So I started with props and did the whole show, and I was kind of looking through all my other memorabilia at home the other day, and I've done a lot of props and I've done other things, and when somebody needed set deck helping with painting or whatever, that's what I did if I had the time and whatever. And then Fran says to me one day, we got a different kind of prop. It's a food prop show. You'll be doing all the food in it, and every scene had food. And that was quite an interesting thing. Real food with real steam rising out of it. But I loved it, and that is what got me back into the theater again. And dear Fran, who I also call Mom, she says, would you like to try assistant stage managing? I think you'd be good at that. And when you read the job description of what a stage manager does, is once the show is on the stage, you're the boss. And I go, oh, maybe that sounds like right up my alley, I could do that. And she stuck me with a wonderful, wonderful mentor, and I walked through all of these things. And then I found out it was a festival show, and that just blew my mind. And I'm going, oh my God, this goes on. This doesn't stop. But I fell in love with that part of it. And then I did stage managing, and then Mom, she said, well, how about co-producing? You know, we really need a co-producer for a show. So I said, well, I haven't done that before. Went, looked at the job description, did it. And now I don't co-produce, I just do producing myself, and I love it. And when you're the producer, I still volunteer, you know, to move props or set things up or paint or anything. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful family experience, a very different family experience. And come on board and see if you like it, and maybe we'll reel you in too. Thank you.
And the fun part is when you're working on a play, you're usually working on it for a couple of months, and we become like a little family, a little team that's all working together to put this production on stage. We've had many people that say, I don't want it to finish because I won't be seeing these people. And they still get together sometimes to go out for drinks or to go out for coffee.
I have a little anecdote for that.
Yeah.
We have what was known in one of the pantos, it was the Rapunzel panto, and then it became, it was the Rapunzel family panto, then the Rapunzel, and then all these other pantos where people have always done the Christmas show. And it's all been organized, and every year in February there's bowling and pizza after that, and we've been doing that for 10 years. So
a great way to make
friends.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh,
and
it is.
You might not see again, and they've done only one show.
Yeah.
And that's...
You will love it. So come out and volunteer. There's always an area that you'll be good at, and then we'll love to have you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ticket for one, please.
Oh, goodness!
We would like to take this opportunity to thank all of our lovely, wonderful, loyal patrons for all their support all of these years at Hendry Hall. Almost 70 years of North Vancouver Community Players putting on shows just for you. We will be back, the shows will go on, and we'll see you next time.